The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. We are back. Retro Rangers in the Zone. I'm Ralph Tycho. The host of the show is George Grimm. George has a very special guest, and he will introduce him. George, take over, sir.
Okay, welcome back to the Retro Rangers podcast. I'm your host, George Grimm, and I'm very pleased to welcome back my friend, the author of Mr. Jerry Hack, who wrote a very successful book about his career as a junior league goaltender called Memoir of a Hockey Nobody. And now he's also come out with a novel called The Crazy Life and Times of Jack Rat Fink. Welcome back to the podcast, Jerry.
Hello, George and Ralph. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Very nice to have you. We're honored to have you. It occurs to me you were on once before with George.
Yes, after I wrote my first book, The Memoir of a Hockey Nobody, George was one of the very first ones to read it, and he liked it so much he put a glowing review on Amazon, and I was very appreciative, and we've been Facebook friends ever since, and
That's right.
I'm hoping actually to meet him one day.
That's right.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Tell me and our audience what I know, but because I'm a sports and hockey fan, what is junior hockey? What is that? Is that like a minor leagues?
Yeah, junior hockey is where the NHL and pro leagues draft from. They're the 20 and under, and I didn't play junior hockey. Actually, George is mistaken. What I played was senior hockey because I didn't start playing hockey till I was 18. And so my junior career was over before it even started. And so I made it into senior hockey, which is kind of like semi-pro. And so everybody told me that was an amazing story. And I was just goofing around on Facebook and telling stories of my playing days, and people kept saying I should write a book, so I wrote a book.
And it's a very good book.
Sorry, George?
It was in the year 2000, I think. That was when you were an author, for the first time. And you're probably coming out with your other book now, which is the Crazy Life and Times of Jack Rat Fink, which is a novel. And why a novel? Why did you switch from a real life to a novel?
Well, the first book did so well, surprisingly, because I'm not a writer by trade. I really didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of wrote it off the top of my head from memory, and didn't do very much research at all. And but people like yourself and other professional writers were telling me how well written it was, and a lot of people who read the first one were encouraging me to write some more. I didn't plan on it, and but they kept bringing it up. You should write some more. You should write some more. So, I didn't know what to write about because I had written my story. I didn't have another story to tell. So, not until the next lifetime, anyway. And
That's right.
That'll be a story. That'll be a story.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea what to write, and then I just was, messing around with ideas. What should I write? What should I write? And it popped into my head that writing a novel would probably be the best idea. And then, because I do have a pretty vivid imagination, I thought I could pull it off. And but I didn't know about
reading your book. Yes, you do have a very vivid imagination, but we'll let that go.
Yeah, I've been told that. You know, if you guys spent half an hour inside my mind, you'd be traumatized forever. So, I was thinking about what to write, and then I thought, you know what, I have my best friend at work. He's been my best friend for the last 25 years. He has stories to tell like you would not believe. Like he just, when we started working together, he started telling me these stories, and I was laughing so hard. Like I could not believe what he had done when he was a kid. So just, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just make up a story around those stories. And Ratfink is what I came up with.
Yeah. Okay. Now, how about the plot? Did you have a plot in mind, or did you kind of make it up as you went along?
I had a very rough outline, and excuse me. I wrote, the very first couple of chapters in the outline, and that's when I sent it to you, George, to see if it was any good.
That's right.
You encouraged me to keep going, so so I kept on it, and I didn't write it all at once. I did a ton of research. I put the work in, like Hockey Nobody. Like I said, I just wrote it off the top of my head. I didn't put any real work into it. And,
right.
And so with Ratfink, I really wanted it to be the absolute best that it could be, and because even today, I kind of feel like I rushed Hockey Nobody. There were some things I left out of the book that I wish I'd kept in, and so with Ratfink, I did my due diligence, and I did the work, and I did the research, and I struggled with it. I can imagine. I admire you so much more now that I've done a legitimate novel and had to do all the steps, all the work, and I agonized over every word, every.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but writing a novel is hard. What I do, I write about other people's history, and that's kind of easy. But you have to come up with a plot and plot twists and characters, and you have to have characters talk to one another, and they have to make sense to one another, and you have to keep people's interest, and that's hard. I don't think I could ever write a novel. I don't think I could ever go that far, but. It's really good that you did. I really think it's a great book, and I have a lot of admiration for you for doing it.
Oh, thank you, George. It's a strange thing how life turns, and like you told me, I wanted to give every character a separate personality, and a lot of them have their own backstory.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it right, and I think I pulled it off. I read Hockey Nobody, and I kind of cringe sometimes, because I thought it could have been so much better. And this one, I'm proud of it, and I so far the early returns have been overwhelmingly positive, so I'm
good.
Okay. Hey, two questions I have of you. Are you, in essence, the main character of the book?
No.
No.
It's very loosely based on my buddy, who wishes to remain anonymous.
Okay. And my second question is kind of an author, being an author myself, along with George, we published a book that I'm very proud of, Comfortably Zoned in Nevada Pine Tar. But my question to you is, what is the day in the life of an author like you? What do you go through on a daily basis? Do you plan to write between 5 and 6, or plan to, or just write when the spirit hits you? How does your day work?
Well, I have a full-time job, so that's first and foremost. I tend just to write when the inspiration strikes me. There was one break in there where I didn't write anything for probably 6 weeks, because I was toying with it in my head and wondering what to come up with next and how details are going to work and whatnot. So I usually I tend to write late at night, after my wife and daughter go to bed, because that's when the house is the quietest. And so it really, sometimes I'll write for several hours, sometimes for 10 minutes, so it's just, and then sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and think, oh God, I got to go write something.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, there's no real set schedule for me. I just do it when I feel like it.
Yeah, that's how it is. Sometimes you have to go with it when you got it. When you got an inspiration in your head, you got to write it down before you lose it. Because if you ever try to go back and get it again, you're not going to remember it. So you got to go with it when you got it. And that's why you get up in the middle of the night and you write, because it just,
I learned very early on not to trust myself. As soon as I think of something, I put it in my phone.
Yeah, you have to.
Jerry, how does being an author compare to being a hockey player? Are there things that transcend from one career to another? Things that that helped you in hockey help you write?
Yeah, well, being a goalie, the one thing in life that I learned from being a goalie, I've been in championship games. I've played in sold out stadiums. I've sold out arenas. I've played in a lot of different situations, and what it's taught me is never to panic under pressure. I pride myself on never hitting the panic button. So, being an author, it's in the writing thing. When I'm having kind of a tough time, I don't panic. I just kind of let it go, and I flow, and I just wait. I know to wait until the time is right.
Yeah,
pretty much that's what being a goalie has taught me. Other than that, I can't say there's too much relationship between playing a game and being a writer. It's kind of apples and oranges to me, anyway.
Okay. Now, how about your wife? How did she like this book? Because the other book she actually liked. She laughed at it, which kind of surprised you at the time. What about this one? How did you like this one?
So glad you asked that. Yeah, what was the word she used? She thought it was good, but it's not her type of book. So
okay,
she liked what was the way it was written and everything, but like I say, it's not. She just described it as not her type of book. So
right,
which I'm happy about, because the last thing I want is anybody blowing snow at me.
Yes.
They tell me they love it when they don't. I
yeah.
So that's the one thing. My wife is an artist, so she's kind of getting me back because she made this big painting with 3 clocks on it and a couple of keys and whatnot. And to me, it didn't make any sense. And I told her, I said, it doesn't speak to me. So kind of getting me back. Because everybody else loves it, but to me, I don't know. I just don't understand it. And she's done a couple other paintings that are very simple of ponds. The plants that are in ponds, and I love those. I thought those were awesome, and they're very simple. I love those. So anyway, the clock one, I told her, I said, I don't understand it. It doesn't, So now she's got her revenge.
And they can have revenge at times, I'm told, women. It just is that way. How did you transition from being an athlete to being a civilian? Was it your choice? Was it an injury? Did you fight not playing?
No, it came pretty easily to me. I played ice hockey for 35 years, and in the last season that I played, my knees and my ankles were starting to give way, and my passion, like the whole time I played hockey, I was like a little kid. I could not wait to get to the rink. It's all I wanted to do. I was just I was a rink rat. I played whenever and wherever I could, and so that when the time came, I just knew. I didn't fight it. The passion kind of had just petered out, and I knew it was time to do something else. So there was too many times during that last season when I would be on my way to a game and wish that I didn't have to play, and right there that it was time to move on and do something else. But I'm still in touch with all my ex-team, not all of them, but a lot of my ex-teammates, and I still go watch the games and see the teams and everything. So, life is good. I don't miss it that much.
Okay. Now, how about now? Is there any times where something might fall off the table when you grab it before it hits the floor, and you say, "Hey, I still got it"?
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with my reflexes. I can tell you that.
Off the subject a little bit, I played a little tennis as an amateur in my day, and I found that the best workout for me was against the wall, just hitting balls against the wall. Is there a device or something that hockey goalies can depend on to get that rhythm going and block shots? Or is there anything on the market for that if you were a kid that you could train with?
Not that I'm aware of. Being a goalie, you kind of need at least one other person to take shots.
Yeah.
So, of course, I haven't played since 2014, so if anything's come on the market since then, I wouldn't know about it.
Right.
Some of my best times were just being on the ice with one other person. And
practicing, yeah.
Take shots on me and, and humiliating them.
Okay. Now, this book, any idea how long it actually took it to write it? From beginning to the publishing.
Yeah, from conception to finished product was 18 months.
That's good. That's a good time frame, I guess.
Yeah.
And how many times did you read it?
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
But the actual writing of the main book, it didn't take too long, probably six or 8 months, and then the rest of the time was the endless rewrites. That's the drudgery to me. Rewrites, because you got to go over it again and again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then
I always tell people that I read 10 books last year, and 8 of them were mine. You just read it over and over again and catch things and smooth out sentences, and you just keep going over and over it.
Yeah, it seems endless, and because I would find that I would contradict myself. Like I would be reading later on in the book and read something that I had contradicted earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially if I hadn't written for a while. So yeah, but that's where a good editor comes in too. I had the first editor go over it, and she pointed out a couple of those things, and also a few weaknesses in the plot and details and stuff. Yeah, so that was good. She was really good for that.
Okay. Is there anything in either of the books that you wish you had put in, and is there anything that you wish you had left out?
Yeah, in the first book, like I said, there was a couple of stories I would like to have put in there, but I didn't want it to be too long. That's why I left it the way it was. I didn't want it to be War and Peace. I didn't want people, thinking it was the Iliad, and so I did leave some things out that I wish I'd.
What's the first thing that you think about when you think about leaving something out? And maybe you'd be good enough to tell us that story.
I actually use it in the new book, what I left out in the old book. I had a roommate who was pretty abrasive. He was not the easiest guy to like sometimes, and we were at a party one time, and he got too much drink in him, and was getting really abrasive, was kind of making everybody mad, and it was in the basement, and he went to go upstairs, and as he was walking up the stairs, this girl came walking down the stairs, and he just kind of grabbed her inappropriately and said some snide remark. The problem was her boyfriend was right behind her. Once it just plowed him right in the nose, and my roommate went tumbling down the stairs and landed. How he never cracked his head open, I don't know, but he ended up at the bottom of the stairs with his feet on the bottom stair, and luckily there was a couple of nursing students there, and they went over and checked on him, made sure he didn't have brain damage or anything, and they rolled him on his side. They rolled him on his side, and then and we just left him there. And everybody's stepping over him to get upstairs or downstairs, and nobody's bothered to check on him. Because everybody knew he deserved what he had just got, and so he was like that for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and finally he came to, and he made his way home. And when I saw him the next day, I said, "Hey, Rob, you have a good time at the party last night?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I had a great time, but I can't figure out why my nose hurts so much."
He sounds like the kind of guy that could use an opening line with women.
Yeah. Hey, baby. Yeah.
He had a girlfriend, and every once in a while she wasn't talking to him.
I wonder why. Okay, how about your nickname? You have a nickname of T-Bag. How did that come about?
Well, they say I started playing ice hockey when I was 18, so I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. I was just I didn't know how to skate. I'd only skated a few times growing up, and so I tended to have a few rough outings. I was all reflex, no technique. I just, I was just relying on my God-given ability, and I was always falling backwards. I didn't know how to get my center of balance. I was always off balance, and I was always flip-flopping like a fish out of water, and so, they tended to pick me apart quite easily at the beginning. And so after one particularly rough outing, I probably let in a dozen goals, and I'm sitting in the dressing room, and across from me is this guy, Kelly Gladson, and he was a really good hockey player. He was probably one of the best players I've played with. And he's staring at me, like staring a hole right through me, and I'm taking my stuff off, and I'm, Kelly, what's up? And he says, "You're a friggin' teabag." The whole room stopped talking, like everybody conversations, and as soon as he said that, everybody shut up. And so it was just me and him, and I said, "Teabag? What are you talking about, teabag?" He said, "Everything goes through you." So the whole room erupted in laughter, and from that point on, I was teabag, and I couldn't really, I had one guy on the team, Ty Fitzsimmons, who that nickname would have died a quick death if it wasn't for Ty. Ty loved that nickname, and so every time I walked into the bar or in a room where Ty was, he'd yell across the room, "Teabag!" And then somebody would go, "Teabag? Why teabag?" "Oh, everything goes through him." "Oh, what a great name!" I'd have to go through the process all again, and so so thanks to Ty, I got stuck with it, and there's some people who don't even know my real name. They're just all...
May I ask what your next project is after completing something? Is there an emptiness? Is there something gnawing at you that needs to be written?
No, not really. I've got a few ideas floating in my head. I'm really waiting to see what kind of reaction this one gets. So far, it's been great. If it keeps going this way, I'm sure I'll write some more. There's one character in Rat Fink that I think would be an interesting book on its own, and so I'm thinking about that. And I might do some short stories. I think that's a lost art form. And
yes, you're right.
I have a friend of mine who got the book published for short stories, and it's really good. Like I read it, and it's excellent. I think
you can also jump around from subject to subject. You don't have to write a long form book about the same subject. You can jump around. You can go from hockey into other things, and you can just write about what's ever on your mind at the time, and then expand it later on.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, what lessons from hockey have you learned that transcend into life that you might pass on to your daughter?
Not sure there's too many lessons I can pass. She doesn't listen to me. Yeah, she's about to turn 15, so I kind of think she knows everything now. And you know what? That it happens kind of organically whenever we're out and about, we're talking. I'm lucky that she still talks to me. We have a good. She still tells me her problems and what she's thinking and stuff. So that way it's great. And so it just kind of comes up every so often. A life lesson that I can tell her. Like I've had problems with money in the past. I've had problems with bullying and stuff like that. So those are lessons that I can impart to her. But as for hockey, it's not much of a sports fan, so she probably wouldn't get the analogy. But
yeah,
there have been times where we've had good heart conversations about what to expect. Like that's the big thing, is what I'm trying to prepare her for what comes next. So.
Let me rephrase the question a little bit. What lesson did you learn from hockey, or lessons that help you in your life?
Like I said, not hitting the panic button, that's the main one. But teamwork is very important to me. The company that I work for has a teamwork first mentality, and I had an artist friend of mine draw up a picture of sculling the 8 men rowboats.
Mhm. Yeah.
So the 7 men are pulling all in the same direction, and then there's one guy pulling in the opposite direction. So I had a picture of that made up, and when I was a supervisor, I showed it to everybody on my team, and I said, what's wrong with this picture? I said, if you are this guy that's pulling in the wrong direction, then we're going to have a problem. So that's one thing I've always you're stronger together. Stronger as a team, all pulling in the same direction.
Right.
Who was a great coach for you?
You know what? Well, my coach in Saskatchewan, Art Burst, he was the only one who truly believed in me. The Hockey Nobody is about, because I didn't start playing when I was 18, until I was 18, and I went to play in these semi-pro leagues, that everybody thought less of me because I didn't have a reputation. I didn't play here. I didn't play there. I didn't, I came out of nowhere. And so they all had a hard time believing that anybody who came from such humble beginnings could be any good, so, but Art was the only one who truly believed in me, and so he was the best coach I had. But as far as being a goalie, I never had a goalie coach. I was completely self-taught. I learned by watching everybody else, and I watched everybody from the NHL goalies to the worst guy at rec hockey, and just because they might do something really well that I could try to put into my game. So that's how I learned. I just learned by watching, by doing, and by playing so often. I was playing almost every day.
Yeah.
That's how I got better, and that's what worked for me. And so I can't really say, other than Art, there is no other that I really I've lost the word that I respected.
Right.
Okay. Have you considered
the people who came to your book signings? How did they treat you? How did you interact with them?
Oh, it was great. Not everybody bought a book, but a lot of
right.
them come and talk hockey. Which is my favorite subject. So
right.
It was awesome.
When I did a book signing for the Emil Francis book at the library, you have to give a little talk before, and the library people gave me 45 minutes, and and I didn't know I could fill up 45 minutes, but probably like an hour and 45 minutes later, she came in and said, you have to be done now. You have to get out now. We need the room. So and that's what happens. You just start talking about it, and people asking questions, and you just start going out on, going off on something that you love to talk about. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
What I found, like they put me basically right at the entrance of the store, the bookstore. And
Right.
Everybody who walked in had to walk right by me. And I had everything from, 12-year-old girls to, 80-year-old men and everything in between. And asked me about it. And I had one 14-year-old girl who wanted to be an author. She had most of her book already written, and she was asking me about, the process. How do you make books? The difference between self-publishing, like I'm self-publishing, and traditional publishing. So she wanted to know the difference and whatnot. So, yeah, it was great. I had a great day that day, and I'm hoping to do a lot more of them.
Good.
What advice would you give for George and I are self-publishers in our effort? What advice would you give to a self-publisher about increasing the number of sales?
Oh man, well, nobody's going to market it for you. That's the main thing. You've got to get out and put boots to the ground and do the work. I mean, there's no easy way about it. I mean, I advertise I market my book on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm going to start doing it on TikTok, Instagram. With self-publishing, if you want your book sold in a bookstore, you physically have to go to that bookstore and ask them to sell your book. So
Right.
I've been a little lazy. I've been having some issues in the last couple of years with COVID and everything, so I'm going to be a lot more diligent on getting my book into the bookstores now.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Are you from Canada or the United States?
I am from Burnaby, British Columbia in Canada, and I've lived here. Other than the time I've played hockey, I've lived here all my life.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. How are the winters up there?
Hi, George, what was that?
How are the winters up there?
Oh, well, in Vancouver, it's winters are very gray. It rains a lot from probably October to May. It probably rains, at least 70% of the time, and we get a few dumps of snow every year, but no, other than that, it's very dreary. The winters up here, they can be hard on you mentally.
Yeah. Okay. Back when Emil Francis was the general manager of the Rangers, he used to say that the ice on the roads back up in where he was from in North Battleford, Saskatchewan, was better than the ice in Madison Square Garden. So I imagine that the roads, the weather and the roads are pretty bad up there during the wintertime.
It's Saskatchewan, yeah. You get the wind-swept roads and ice and whatnot. It's not fun. The bus trips when it's 40 below and your heater well, and you got 3 jackets on, and then you try to put your skates on, and they're like 2 blocks of ice. Yeah, it can be harsh, but you just learn. You learn to deal. That's just the way it is. And adapt or die.
Yeah. If you love the game, that's what you do.
What you do. That's all I wanted to do. So I was willing to put up with almost anything.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
George, you brought a very interesting guest.
I try, Ralph. I try.
Yes. We are glad to have you, and I hope you come back and give us an update from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to wait till your next book. You can come back anytime you want. Just let me know. You got something on the fire, you need something, let us know.
But what I'd really like to talk about one time is when I read your book, George, The Guardians of the Goal.
Yeah.
What struck me was the deep connections between my Vancouver Canucks and your New York Rangers.
Yeah.
So many players we have in common, and it just amazed me. Like I was finding, goalies that no idea played in New York, and then others that I had no idea played in Vancouver. You had Dan Blackburn, who's from here.
Right.
And there's Dan Cloutier, Kirk McLean. I could go on and on and on. It just Orland Kurtenbach.
That's right. When you go through the history of hockey, even when there was 6 teams, the hockey world was so small that everyone knew everybody, and everyone probably played with everybody at one point in their time, coming up through juniors or in the NHL. It was a very, very close knit league, and I think that's why you didn't have the players trying to hurt each other as much as they do now, because everyone knew each other back then, and everybody, they were friends off the ice. But nowadays, you might not see a guy all year. You might play against him once a year. So they don't care what they do to you. It's just very very different than what it used to be.
Yeah, it gets very it gets very cynical,
Yes. Yeah.
People don't view each other as human; they're just the enemy,
That's right. Yeah.
I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, I understand.
Have you considered getting into coaching yourself? Not coaching yourself, but coaching yourself.
I coach myself every day.
Right. But you know what I mean. Youth hockey or
I did it first, when I stopped playing, and I thought, maybe get back to the game, but the way they teach goaltending now is completely foreign to me. I wouldn't even know where to begin. They teach this butterfly style, and they have all these terms of.
Yeah, butterfly. I don't understand butterfly myself, so.
Oh, well, I would, like I say, I was completely self-taught, so I would have trouble teaching somebody else how to play my way. I don't think it works, so I'll just let the professionals deal with it, and I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and you'll just watch it, yeah. I know. So.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
We're losing Jerry.
Yeah, we're losing a little bit. Why don't we wrap it up, George, and hope that your guests will return many times.
Yeah. All right. Are you back, Jerry?
I don't know.
No. Yes, you are.
You are.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And good luck with the book. It's on Amazon, right?
That's right. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, a few other places online, Walmart. So if you just Google it, it comes up in the search.
Okay. Is there a website involved at all?
Not yet. Still working on that. My website, www.jerryhack.com, but that's only for the Hockey Nobody.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jerry. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jerry. We're appreciative, as George says.
Yeah, thank you, Ralph. We'll be talking again, I'm sure.
Good.
All right.
Would you befriend me on Facebook so we can keep in contact that way as well?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And for you listeners out there, it's the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and this was a good one. George, take us out.
Thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll be back soon with another hopefully interesting episode of the Ranger podcast. Ralph, you're not the only one. I'm sorry.
It's catching, isn't it?
Yes. Sorry, Ralph.
All right. Be good, gentlemen. Thank you again. And thank you for listening, everybody. Happy trails and adios.
Bye.
Good night.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices, and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.